a very warm welcome to the Highwaymen. I'm Steve.
And I'm knackered.
Oh
I
dear.
had my COVID jab, had my COVID and my flu jab yesterday, and it's weighing heavily on me today. A little bit tired,
mate.
but I'm Jason
Both
anyway.
Together?
Yeah.
Was that one in each arm?
Yeah.
Bring
One in
it
each
on.
arm. Yeah. It was like a gangbang.
Well, the biggest prick you've had in some time.
Absolutely, yeah. One each side. My God. Some people's idea of heaven, that'd be.
Oh well. Funnily enough, that's almost merges seamlessly into what we're going to discuss. Michael Jackson, the rise and fall of Michael Jackson.
Hee-hoo! Just want to moonwalk across the back of the room now.
Yes.
Steve's moonwalk.
So, yeah, did you like that? That was clever, wasn't it?
Very clever, yeah. It was floating, almost floating. Yes, Michael Jackson. But I think we need to start with the 70s, which is a little bit before my time.
Absolutely, it was. Yeah. So he appeared on the scene with four of his brothers. Please don't ask me to name them. Known as the Jackson
I can name them.
Five.
The Jackson Five. There you are.
Very impressed.
There was wasn't there? I'm trying to think now. There was wasn't there Tito, Marlon?
There could have been a Tito. Yeah.
Was there Marlon? Yeah. And who was the younger one? I can't remember now.
You're thinking of Jimmy Osmond.
No,
that was another band.
He's the wrong flavour.
He's vanilla.
He was vanilla. Yeah.
So anyway, their father, it was quite a hard taskmaster by all standards. Put them together. Joe, I think his name was.
Yes.
But basically, do you know what? For all the bad that they say about him, he set those boys up for the rest of their lives, didn't he? One way or another, however long or short it was. So little Michael Jackson, he was sort of like the darling of it all.
The cute one, wasn't it? The cute one.
Yeah.
And the best singer as well, I think.
That was it. Pardon?
The best singer.
Without a doubt. Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt, he certainly was. So anyway, it springboarded them to fame, and they were huge. They were absolutely freaking huge to the point that they even had a TV show about them, and all the bits of cartoon TV show about them, and absolutely massive. When the Jackson 5 stopped recording, Michael became a very accomplished solo artist.
Can I just stop you there? Because I think he did his first solo album while they were still together. And it was a bit of a sore point that he kind of got this, it was the Off the Wall album, and he kind of got that kind of, that was kind of a bit under the radar, I believe. Somebody who knows better, they can correct me. But he did the Off the Wall album, which was really successful, as we know. And basically that split the Jackson 5 up, I think. And then he recorded the Thriller album, which is where I sort of pick up Michael Jackson. I remember it at school, Billie Jean coming out.
Early 80s, that was.
Yeah.
83? Was it about 83?
Probably was, yeah. And he was phenomenal. He danced brilliantly. He looked fantastic. He had his own kind of style, and obviously videos were just starting to come into their own then as well. And the Billie Jean video with a light up pavement was just kind of like something that we hadn't seen before as far as videos were concerned. And I think all the guys wanted to dance like him, all the girls wanted, all the girls fancied him, and he was on top of the world. And then of course Thriller came out, huge video.
Yeah.
It was, it was. And you can watch this on YouTube now, but it was actually banned in the UK until after 11 o'clock at night. You couldn't watch it because it was so scary, and it was amazing. But he was always a bit weird. He had these strange things. He had his little theme park going on in his house, in his Neverland Ranch, and obviously he started to spend a lot of time with children. And I don't think when he was in his 20s, it was that big of an issue. I don't know whether it's the time that it was happening or the fact that he was sort of not long out of childhood himself, that I think people didn't really think too much of it at that point, did they?
They didn't. And you got to bear in mind as well, we're at an era where things like that really weren't thought about. I mean, I remember the same sort of decade, Morecambe and Wise, who were like Anton Deckard today.
Yeah.
They used to have a weekly show, and in their house, they did sketches where they'd wake up in the morning and they were both in the same bed. So they would both wake up in the same bed. They would have blue striped pajamas on and all the other bits and pieces. That was not even considered to be anything.
You wouldn't assume, you just assume there were two men in bed together. You wouldn't assume there was anything sexual going on, because that wouldn't even enter your head, would it? And the other thing that's interesting about that time is the word paedophile wasn't used. You know, it wasn't a word that people knew what it meant. You know, it wasn't until probably the sort of late 90s really that became a word that people used. We never even really had a word for, so as with child abusers, I guess, but it wasn't even considered a thing, was it? It was, but not for most people would never even consider it.
No, they wouldn't. Can I just go back to the Off the Wall album, Jack?
Yeah.
Do you know what? I have got to say, I'm not a huge Michael Jackson fan.
No,
but that has got to be right up there with one of my top 5 albums ever. Some of the tracks on that, they're just bloody fantastic, in all honesty. Absolutely. And remind me about that, because it's something I want to pick up on in a little bit, but we get a bit further down
further down the line. Okay, so we go back by the Thriller and obviously establish himself. Then it was 1987 when he brought out The Bad. And obviously he's kind of, I guess he's in his 30s then. The hair's longer. He's got that kind of bondage look going on with the...
yes, that's right.
You know, and he suddenly starts grabbing his crutch constantly and shouting, "Oh!" in every video. Yeah. And it's just, he doesn't look too plastic, does he? But he's definitely had a nose job or 7.
There's bits going on,
Bits starting to go in. Oh, he's got I think he had the chin at that point as well, didn't he? He suddenly developed a dimple in his chin and stuff like that. And I can't think whether this is about the time that he did the Martin Bashir interview. And that would have been kind of early 90s, because it was after Princess Diana. And he was asked about the plastic surgery there, and he said he had one nose job because he struggled to breathe. We believe that, didn't we?
Princess Diana. Well, she died in 97.
She died in 97. But so her interview would have been about 95. So then obviously it was late 90s he did that then. So that must have been after so it was Bad, and then was it one after Black or White? Was that an album, Black or White? Or was that just a song? I think that was an album, wasn't it?
That was just a song. Was it Earth Song and stuff? What was that?
That was on that album. That was on the Black and White album. Yeah. So it's it's late 90s. Then he did that interview with Bashir, and he was obviously talking about never having a nose job. And are we into the 2000s when all of these sex abuse scandals started to come out? Now, what's your take on that? What's your take on that? Do you think he's guilty or not guilty?
You said earlier on it was always a bit weird and a bit strange, and his office or whatever you want to say always put it down to that he never had a childhood, and so he just wants to relive his childhood now, and he had his mates over for sleepovers and stuff and all the other bits and pieces. So okay. All right, let's give us the benefit of the doubt on that one. But quite often there is no smoke without fire. You know, there's got to be more to it than that. There has got to be more to it. I hate to say, even if it is meant in innocence, I very much doubt indeed if the evening carried on that way.
I don't know. I don't know. I thought he was guilty for a long time, but I think I'm sitting thinking about it more now. I don't doubt that it's very inappropriate. You know, as a man of my age now, you know, I go on holiday. I just, you know, I've had my own children, and I love children and all the rest of it, but I want to go on an adults only holiday. I don't want to be around children. Yeah. You know, I don't dislike them, but they are a little bit annoying sometimes when you're trying to chill out, listen to your music, and they're all screaming around you and stuff like that. So there gets to a point where in life you don't necessarily want to be around children. And the thing that I find odd is that it's his age. Not only did he still want to be around children, but the thought that having a sleepover with somebody else's child was okay, and also to the parents that allowed that as well. What the fuck were you thinking?
Exactly.
Which I think is weird. And although it may have, I mean, it may have come from a place of innocence, but even so, there's got to be something in your head that's going to say that is inappropriate. Even if you just want to spend time with children, if you want to be around children, in that manner, then go out with their parents and go out with their invite the mum and dad over and invite the children over and let them stay in a separate wing together with you. Do you know what I mean? And there's things he could have done. But the other thing is, though, there was a lot of children involved, but only 2 of them came out and accused him of stuff. There was a lot that come forward and said nothing's happened. Now, if he was a real child abuser, being that he had the power and the opportunity, would he have been more prolific? Would he have been another Jimmy Savile that when one came out, they all came out? So part of me actually believes the ones that accused him were just in it for the money, and it was completely innocent. Again, I say the whole thing is wrong, but then...
Well, here's a weird thing. Right?
But it's wrong. It's wrong now because society's changed so much. Going back to the Morecambe and Wise thing, I don't know.
Here's a weird thing for you, Jay, right? And when I ask you to remind me, this is why. This is what I'm pertaining to. How many brilliant songs has Michael Jackson recorded?
Many.
Honestly, and he would put many really, really, really well-known artists in the shade with the amount of records that he's recorded and put out, and that have done very, very well. When's the last time you heard a Michael Jackson song on the radio?
I don't listen to the radio, so I think to be honest, if I occasionally listen to absolute 80s, and I'm sure they still play them. Sure, they do.
Well, I tell you what, I listen a lot to radio too, which plays a lot of the earlier music. I do listen to 80s FM. I do listen to all that kind of stuff, and I'll tell you now, I can't remember the last time I heard a Michael Jackson song being played. I genuinely can't. So why? Why is that? Is there a cover-up? Is there a massive cover-up? And you know what? It's all been brushed under the carpet, but let's not push it. Let's keep it all quiet. Here's the thing: put a lid on everything, and that's what it is. That's only an assumption. But I honestly can't remember the last time I heard one being played, and I don't get that because they're freaking amazing records.
I shall listen out now, you said, and see what I think. So yeah. When it comes down to it, do you think he was guilty of the child abuse?
Do you know what? I think he was, but I don't think he wanted to be, and I don't think he meant to be. I honestly think that he probably was or wanted to be a kid, but at the end of the day, he's got a bloke's body, and a bloke's body, unfortunately, has they're not even wants, they are needs. Do one way or another, something's going to happen, whether you do something about it or if you don't.
No, because I think we have a thing called asexuality when people really aren't interested. I remember Kenneth Williams from Carry On Films. Remember the little bespectacled bloke?
Actually,
I remember an interview with him, and he was asking them, because obviously he was very camp, asking me if he was straight or gay, and he said, to be honest with you, he said, I've never had sex. I've never had any inkling to have sex. But if I was going to, I'd probably be gay. That's what he said. So there are people out there that have no real interest either way. And it could be that he was one of those people, because I know he was married to Lisa Marie Presley for a while.
Read about that. That was a sham, but read about that.
And also, Brooke Shields, he had a bit of a relationship with, which I think was another kind of, stage for television. So either they were meant to throw off the scent of what else he was up to, or he just genuinely wasn't interested. And I wonder if he genuinely wasn't interested.
It could be. I mean, he has 2 children, and which biologically,
he has three children. 3 children.
Oh, 3 is it?
Yes, Paris. Okay. Paris, Michael Jr. and Blanket.
How can you say that with a straight face?
I have to say, I saw Paris, who did an interview with Willow Smith, and she was such a really nice, polite girl. You know, she was drove up to the front of the mansion on this little golf buggy. And I remember just getting off, and she was so grateful to the bloke that brought, thank you very much for that. And she just seemed such a nice girl, I have to say. So she's been brought up well. And
I don't doubt that.
But he's got 3 children, but I don't think there was any conception involved there, because they had a surrogate, didn't they? The mother was a surrogate. I think that was a turkey-based job. So I wonder if perhaps Michael Jackson died a virgin.
It was a turkey-based job. It was. But I still go back to even if you're not don't want sex or whatever, biologically, you have to get rid. Your body will make semen. It will make it, and it doesn't store it indefinitely. It has to come out, and it comes out in the form of either when you have sex, have a wank, or a wet dream if you do nothing about it.
Yeah, so it doesn't mean so. Okay, so there's the latter excuse. You might not have done anything ever with anybody.
Well, I would love to be able to have your open-mindedness, and I'm just a cynical old twat, and I still believe that something went on, and it's all been quietened down, and the poor sod's dead now, isn't he? So he can't answer to it.
I think with, as I said, I think with his power and his influence and the opportunities that he had over the years, there's a lot of people who've always said nothing ever happened. You know, Corey Feldman, who's the one in Home Alone?
Macaulay Culkin,
all sorts said nothing ever happened. Just these 2 ones that came up. But I wonder if it was, if it's true. It's terrible for me to say this, but I wonder if it was just the money, and he is innocent. I think after he died, I think a lot more people would have come out the woodwork if he was prolific like somebody like Jimmy Savile. So I'm going to go with very weird and inappropriate behaviour, the whole sleeping over, but I don't think he did anything. I wouldn't say I wouldn't bet my life on it, but I would, if I had to give him the benefit of the doubt, I probably would.
I disagree, but
okay, that's fair enough. Let's quickly talk about plastic surgery though, because he went from looking like a very, very good-looking young man to looking like a very strange old woman.
Freaking horrendous!
Like the child catcher. He looked like the child catcher out of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang at the end.
Yeah, he did. Wasn't there a time as well where everyone thought that him and his sister were the same?
Same, yeah. LaToya, well, they both had the old nose chiseled down, like when you're peeling the carrots and you get one that's like a little one. It's just like a bit square at the end, like a peeled carrot. Both the noses were. Weren't they?
And they weren't seen together in public for a long, long time, were they?
No.
So there was this theory that they were the same person.
Yeah. She still looks like him. She still looks a lot like him before he died. Maybe he's just done an Elvis Presley and he's just retired.
That's another thing. I'm not being funny. That is another thing. Maybe all of the pressure of all of it. See, it was building, all the paedophile allegations and everything else. Maybe he did. Maybe it was like they'd fuck this. I'm off to go and live in a freaking monastery somewhere, or do whatever he does.
He was about filing for bankruptcy anyway, wasn't he? Because that last tour was meant to kind of boost the coffers because things were getting so tight, weren't they? But I watched on that Martin Bashir advert. He went into interview. He went into this shop and he was buying stuff, and it was like you just went around one of those. I like that one of those, and it was like $300,000 for an ornament.
Remember that?
And I
remember that.
Even if you're in I don't know, Pound Stretcher. You don't just go around buying everything. You still look at the price and go left, right. You don't just go, like that, knowing that it's all like, I've just spent $2 million on a few home furnishings that I really don't need.
Can you imagine doing that in Poundland, though, Jay? I'll have that.
You spend 30 quid.
Pounds, please.
Yeah, you feel like a celebrity, don't you?
Yeah,
same as like these people who come out with Primark with loads of bags. And they've just spent, Primark, for people who don't know, is like Old Navy, probably cheaper than Old Navy. in America, coming out with all these bags. It's like you look like you're a multi-millionaire, but the fact is you only spent £27.50 and got some Tic Tacs for £1. I don't know.
Brilliant. I love it. In fact, one of my favorite things, if I find something is really rubbish and really rubbish, one of the things I'll say is, it's that bad, it was 50p at Poundland.
They're gonna have to have a name change. They're gonna have to have a name change now. The inflation's going up so much, aren't they?
Oh yeah.
It's gonna be after £1.11 land.
There's nothing left in there for £1 anyway, I don't think.
I don't know. Dear. Shall we leave Michael Jackson there?
Leave him. He's yes, wherever he may be, wherever he might be him in eternal rest, or be him living it up somewhere in Skegness. Who knows? Wherever he is, we'll leave him there. They're brilliant songs. Can't take that away from the bloke. But I am a firm believer, Jay. No smoke without fire.
Can we have a little moonwalk before we go?
Another one?
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Oh, fabulous. Right, thanks for watching, and we'll see you all next time.
See you guys.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Oh, don't forget that bit. That's the important bit.
Bye.
See you next time.